Let's kick things off, shall we? My goodness, what a day. I'm struggling, I'm not gonna lie. It's like one little thing. Maybe it's just the healing that's happening in this hand, wrist, arm, or whatever that is just enough to throw off my mental, my emotional, my just in general, like, energy. It's interesting. We're very resilient in a lot of ways in this existence, yet very fragile, it seems. All right, let's kick off on Instagram. I don't know what that was about, but I just had some type of alert on Facebook. I'm gonna have to investigate that further, but I toggled through it considering making the timestamp for today. But I should have screenshotted it, thinking back on it, because it was censoring the advertising of today's episode, which is very interesting. But it does bring up another question. I noticed when I initially, and this is a frequenting, I don't want to even dare I say issue, but this is something that's going on, and maybe through the listeners in the comment you could let me know on your end. But I try making things very clear when I advertise an episode is to a timestamp, and as to being mountain standard time. In fact, what did I just push on there? Close that. Oh my gosh, what is that? I apologize. My crippled hand is pushing on things I shouldn't be. Golly, I'm challenged. So I post, just let me know what maybe I should just get on a set schedule. Maybe that's what we ought to do. But when I put in the time, I do the advertisements, it's like I get a quick wave of viewers as though we're going live in that moment, when it's clearly indicated and posted that it's coming soon. So I don't know on what platform y'all are coming from, whether it's Facebook, we advertise it on, True Social, X, and I believe, and then Rumble. But if you look on Rumble itself, just to rule out any confusion, and you scroll down into the description setting, it actually indicates what time we're looking to start for that live stream. Just so you know. But we don't typically advertise too far in advance anyways. So you could just maybe put it on the back burner, set on the shelf, and it will kick off shortly. All right, with that out of the way, welcome to a Muzzled Chat. Hope you're having a freaking fantastic day out there. What a roller coaster life is. We're up, down, and all over the place. And clearly, more than ever before, in this information age we live in, it's so crazy. There is just so much going on around us. And there's so much news I want to continually report on and sound the alarm on and try to get organized on. But without, let's say, the momentum I had been hoping for and the organization I had been hoping for, I mean, I got to just do my best to hand that over to God. At the end of the day, it truly is in His hands. But that is not to dismiss the very roles we are to play on an individual level. So, obviously, as you all know, it is so important and so crucial that we all do our part and get out and vote. Now, if you already took care of it on early ballot, fantastic. If you're going in early, fantastic. If you're planning on going day of, just the whole mix, and personally, in my eyes, is good. But with what has already been done, there are multiple reports of fraud already taking place from individuals that hadn't even made it in yet started getting indicators that their vote was already tallied. They went to go in and try to rectify the issue and vote, and they're like, sorry, you've already voted. And these individuals are having a very hard time finding out where to take this information. Like, my gosh, we must really grasp the importance of a secure election. If we don't have a secure election, we don't have a country. You know, that actually reminds me of a post. Through my morning, I was going through quite a bit of just everything going on in the world today, and I was considering building an episode out on it, and I got pulled in a different direction. And it was either going to stay on the pasture side of things, in the bigger picture in that sense, or this other road. And it's more so my personal road. What led me to more so seeing the way the world is operating? Like, what is behind it? Like, why is the world operating today the way it is in our era that we're living in? And I'm kind of jumping the gun, but I think that's where we're going to be leaning towards. But what I was just talking on just crossed my mind in this post. This does deserve an answer, and I could even pull it up, but it states, riddle me this. If the government cannot protect the vote, protect the border, or protect its citizens, then why do we have a government? Why? Just to continually launder money to the elites, I suppose. That's all what it seems to be doing. They make a mess of everything else, but they're really good at enriching themselves, aren't they? They're really good at pointing the finger at the citizens and demonizing us and dividing and creating all this turmoil amongst each other. It is really sad. That's why I'm against all these foreign wars. I'm against everything that's happening to divide us and create a civilization that is just up in arms against each other. It's freaking ridiculous. Too much fraud. Unbelievable. So, yes, with everything that's happening, it is crucial that we seek our loving Creator in this time above all else. He will set us on the straight and narrow and the path and apply our skills in ways we can't even fathom. The God Satan is actively deceiving many of us, too many of us, in fact. It is crucial that we seek truth and humble ourselves. I believe the more we do that, we will be led more so to great victory, but also unimaginable blessing will come into each and every one of our lives. Let me do a screen share here. Oh man, you guys are so freaking awesome. I'm excited to dive into this because this is a throwback to me right here. This 10-part series, it's initial, just part 1 of 10 parts. I believe in total it is under 3 hours. I only included 4, I believe, into links in this episode below. If we have time to get through 5, we'll get through 5. If we only get through 3, we only get through 3. But in this time, I do feel now that there could potentially be, let's say, more clear, more powerful information out there somewhere than this series. But as I reflect back on this series, there truly wasn't any more powerful singular source of information that was compiled and in an enlightening type of way than this very documentary series, as whatever you want to call it, The Fall of the Cabal by Janet. Now, I'll do a disclaimer up front. Not even so much a disclaimer, but it saddens my heart. Because when I initially dove into this series, Janet was with us. And this particular one dates back over 2 years ago. But it is relevant. The information it goes over is incredibly relevant. It really builds out the infrastructure as to why the world is functioning the way it is. And what individuals have positioned themselves in this existence through corporations and everything. It really brings to light. Then it kind of makes sense as to, oh wow, political, why it's doing what it's doing. The selection more so taking place. Just everything. So I only hope and pray in going through this information, it opens your eyes in a hopeful light, not disheartening. I know some of the information she in fact goes over is hard to digest, and some of it will actually have to even give disclaimers on, because she does go into the child sex trafficking rings, which it's crucial because it really does let's say expose the spider web of evil, the whole umbrella, and it's just crucial. So I did do a kind of a spoiler alert there that Janet is no longer with us. And I want to pay her some attributes, and I hope I just do her justice in sharing her message that she was willing to die for in this life. As far as I know, it was a very strange death. Suicide has been thrown out there, but I don't see that. I don't hear it in her voice. I didn't have the pleasure to meeting her. But as we know, the devil and evil has a very effective way of diminishing our light and leading us down that path when we are, let's just say, a weapon against evil and exposing it in this life. But there have been too many suicided amongst us. Too many warriors actually murdered, and it being wrapped up as a suicide. And personally, that's what I believe is what has happened here with Janet. So the more I think about it, the more fired up I am to dive into the information she was exposing, because that says to me she got too close for comfort for evil in this existence. And I'm not afraid of that. I am not afraid of my mortal life and death if I could have any potential positive impact on any of you and protect you from enslavement or warfare. Why is it the number one censored topic seems to be anything regarding your health? And we know I'm getting censored on truthful, helpful information. And the propagandists on the controlled platforms are pushing harmful things more than profit. There's specific outcomes evil wants in this existence, and it goes way beyond profit. It's more about power it's more about control. Okay, that being said, let's dive into this series. She did such a fantastic job, and she really opened my eyes to a lot. So I just pray that is the impact she has for you with this Fall the Cabal 10-part document. Now just know, if we get through this 10-part and I get a good response from the listeners, we'll get even into the more recent editions that she did. She did a sequel to this 10-part series that went 1 through like 26 or 27. And this 10-part series was about, 3 hours, I stated? Some of those episodes are upwards of 2 hours, but they're way more relevant. They're more current on the data. So anyway, let's just make sure sounds good, and you could let me know if that's coming through okay. Enjoy. Oh. Man, she does such a good job. You know what? Let's go ahead and just bump it up. Just 125. Let me know if you guys are happy with that. Real quick. I love how she does that. Things that make you go, that's important.
Our very eyes. And
oh my gosh. The sound wasn't on. I apologize, folks. We're going to re-kick it off right where the sound kicks in.
And the majority of the world population, as we know it, is one of the great...
Here.
We are about to witness one of the greatest events in human history. The world
folks.
as we know it is crumbling before our very eyes, and the majority of the world population is not aware of it. Power structures that have been in place for thousands of years are taken down as we speak. Soon we'll be shown evidence of an elite plan so evil, so all-encompassing, that people will be shocked to the core. This documentary was made to help you deal with what's coming. Is it a good thing? Oh yes, it's the best thing that could possibly happen to us. But in order to understand and process the quantum leap that we as humanity are about to take, you must understand the reality, the timeline if you wish, that we as a species were placed in. And believe me, you don't have a clue just yet. The evil I mentioned has been working behind the scenes so intelligently, so brilliantly, that hardly anyone ever noticed a thing.
Right.
What I'm going to do is first of all give you a short overview of things that made me go, Things that made me decide to start digging for the truth. We'll take it from there, shall we? Are you ready? Join me on a journey down the rabbit hole.
Fantastic.
Let's start with the recent forest fires, for instance in California. Did you know that these fires forgot to burn trees? That they were capable of cutting through houses? That they burn trees from the inside out?
It is interesting.
That they were able to lift cars, tilt them, and smash them down? Are you sure these are ordinary forest fires?
Wow.
And how about this one?
That's before Maui, folks. North Carolina now. And Florida. Unbelievable.
In a world where mercury is considered highly toxic, but not when we inject it into children in absurd quantities. No doubt you've heard about chemtrails.
Yes.
Denied by our governments for a long time, but recently acknowledged and referred to as geoengineering aerosols. They are sprayed into our atmosphere to protect us from global warming. The thing that makes me go, however, is the fact that we're sprayed with heavy metals.
And the majority, look, that's what we're seeing. They're ramping up that tactic, folks, more and more. And to this day, this is over 2 years ago. well over 2 years ago. And there's information dating back further than that. But people are still dismissing what their own eyes are telling them. Please reach out to unmuzzledchat@gmail.com or simply in the comments here of some of the best methods you have found or you feel we could have to wake people up and have the conversations on these threats, the poisons that are poisoning them, you, all our loved ones, because we must effectively get organized and stop this now. Like right now.
Which are stored in our brains, where they have proven to cause Alzheimer and Parkinson's disease.
Right.
And did you know that in many countries, among which my own Holland, we have to explicitly say no to organ donation, for if we don't, our organs will be property of the state as soon as we are declared brain dead? The last time it was arranged this way by law was during the Nazi occupation.
Wow.
Did you know that our current Pope is the first to state that hell does not exist, but the devil does? Isn't it weird that the Vatican's audience hall is full of references to reptilians? Snakes? Serpents? Did you know the Vatican's telescope is called Lucifer? And since when does the Pope make the sign of the devil? 9/11. Whereas one bird can cause terrible damage to a plane, on 9/11, 2 planes managed to cut through steel.
Right.
A third plane mysteriously disappeared in a building, and number 4
Not a
plunged
plane.
into the earth without leaving any debris or bodies.
Right.
The planes were piloted by
Missiles.
terrorists who only had a few flying lessons in a small Cessna.
Yeah.
Then there are the
I will state the majority of what she goes over, I am in alignment with. And then it's important for ourselves to set up priorities, right? Is to, I want to hit the heaviest things to gain the most momentum that will lead to the biggest solutions. So I do know, and I think it's later in the series, that certain ideas and certain things get brought up where more so in misalignment with, maybe even in disagreement, but that's not to mean that or discredit so much of the amazing work she has done. I just praise anyone willing to put information out there, especially to this extent of research and just well-crafted documentaries. It's to be praised. And I know if Janet were here today, and if any of us were to be able to bring something to debunk or disprove anything she spoke out on, she'd happily humble pie. Her heart was in the right place. And it was to help sound the alarm on everything that's going on, because all this is more meaningful than just things that go, It's trying to trigger that rational thinking, that critical thinking so much of us have seemed to lose. And anyway, I'll let her continue, but she connects so many amazing dots in the big picture. Let's just keep going.
the horrid attacks on innocent people, in which the same victims can survive up to 3 different attacks.
Interesting.
This lucky young man survived being shot in the head. All he needed was a band-aid. And thank God not all victims are people of flesh and blood. What do you think about this one? Are you a parent? Are you aware of the fact that children cartoons contain subliminal messages of sex and violence? Why?
Right.
Did you know that fully grown fetuses can be legally aborted in many American states? That advocates of full-term abortion state that unborn babies cannot feel pain? Whereas every doctor knows that the nervous system is the first to develop in fetuses? Is abortion of a fully grown baby not the same as murder?
Right.
Okay, let's have a look at the migrant caravan. Thousands of people fled their South American homes to look for a better future in the US. The trip covered 2,000 miles in 1.5 months in order to be on time for the American midterm elections as a political statement against President Trump. This means they walked an average of 45 miles a day on flip-flops, barefoot, like this and like this. 45 miles a day?
Staged.
Why do Hollywood celebrities promote the use of facial creams containing the foreskin of baby boys? Do you realize that these foreskins are actually sold? That it's a trade? What's next? Drinking baby blood? Now, I'm going to give you 5 more, although I could go on forever. Counting down, number 5. Did you know that diseases such as AIDS, Zika, SARS, and Ebola are actually patented?
Right.
Do you know when something is patented? When it's man-made. Man-made diseases. Are you kidding me?
Absorb it.
Number 4. Your cell phone, laptop, tablet, and your TV contain spyware that works 24/7, no matter whether your device is switched on or off. This means you are constantly being monitored. Each and every conversation, whether at home or at work, is recorded. Why? And by whom? Number 3. In 2018, Monsanto, known for its genetically modified seeds and crops, plus its poisonous weed killer Roundup, was bought by Bayer, a chemical giant that produces mostly poison. In other words, our food supply is now largely controlled by the producers of carcinogenic poison. Wow. Monsanto started off producing Agent Orange, a very powerful and highly toxic chemical used during the Vietnam War to eliminate forest cover and to destroy crops. But it turned out to do just a little bit more than that, causing horrific birth deformities and various types of cancer. According to experts, the fusion of Monsanto and Bayer was the perfect match made in hell. Number 2. In 2018, Hillary Clinton admitted that she deleted 33,000 emails from a private server used as Secretary of State. Not only that, she used a hammer to smash her cell phones, SIM cards, and hard drives. Any further evidence that could have been used against her in a court of law was destroyed by fire that conveniently started in the office of a mansion. Did she actually get away with that?
Right.
And last but not least, number 1. President Obama received the 2009 Nobel Peace Prize only months after his inauguration. Why, for God's sake? He came from nowhere and had achieved nothing at the time. In the following 8 years, he invaded 7 countries and dropped a bomb every 20 minutes. Jeez. Who on earth was on that Nobel committee? The world is not what you think. And guess what all of these things have in common? They were completely ignored by the mainstream media. Not one news channel covered or questioned any of it. And just when I thought I'd seen it all, this became President of the US. I always thought there were 2 political sides in life, left and right. Left was for the common people, right was for the rich. But I soon found out that my ideas did not reflect reality at all. Obama seemed to have enchanted everybody, including myself, with his good looks and charms. But like I said, he invaded 7 countries. He was a Democrat, for God's sake. And Democrat Bill Clinton went from one sex scandal to the next, lying under oath and getting away with it. Maybe left and right were simply 2 wings of the same bird?
Yeah.
In spite of my leftist upbringing and background, and my fierce opposition against Trump, I decided to give him the benefit of the doubt. But how did he get elected in the first place? Just before the elections, WikiLeaks arose. Founded by Julian Assange in 2006, WikiLeaks is a giant online library of the world's most censored documents, obtained by whistleblowers at the highest level. Much information deals with war, spying, and corruption. Now, just before the presidential elections, WikiLeaks published highly incriminating evidence of the corruption within the Clinton Foundation and the Clinton presidential campaign. So, what happened? That happened. On January 20, 2017, Donald J. Trump was inaugurated as...
It's interesting. I saw people drop out just because the pictures of Trump looking a little funny. People are so wrapped up. We can't... We're highly erratically emotionally charged into all this bread and circus. 100%. We really need a great humbling in order to free ourselves entirely. It just saddens my heart. It's collectively together that we even have a chance in this existence. Full stop.
As President of the United States of America. But how did WikiLeaks obtain the evidence of the Clinton corruption? It was leaked by an employee of the Democratic National Committee, Seth Rich, who was subsequently found dead with 2 bullets in his back.
Wow.
Who killed Seth Rich? We will find out in the next episodes. What do we have for now? Donald Trump as President of the US. And then, out of nowhere, arose the enigma of Q.
Okay, that was just the end of part 1. Let's go ahead and dive into the second part.
On October 28, 2017, a mysterious post was placed on 4chan, an anonymous internet bulletin board. It contained nothing but codes. This was the beginning of a new phenomenon. The Q posts, soon to be transferred to 8chan due to hacking, became more and more intriguing and popular among the so-called QAnons, anonymous people who are wary of the lies of the mainstream media and who've gone searching for the truth using other news outlets on the internet. I will get into the identity of Q later on in this documentary. Q communicates with the people by means of the Q posts, drops or crumbs that we, the Anons, pick up and decipher. The Q crumbs portray a better world, without wars, treason and corruption. A world after the Great Awakening.
Now, I like the aspect that she just pointed out regarding Q getting onto free speech other platforms and seeking information. But there's so much about the Q narrative I personally did not like, where it was kind of indicating, sit back, enjoy the show, that all is well. They got all the information. It kind of lulled a lot of true patriots into a false sense of security, as though they didn't need to get more active. That's what I didn't like. We must realize we all have a role to play, a responsibility and a duty, both to God, country, family, all of it.
Q uses words and short sentences that keep coming back.
See that trust the plan? Yeah, no.
Sometimes the Q drops are short and to the point. Initials are used instead of full names. Sometimes they contain a lot of information. And sometimes combinations of letters and numbers are used for us to rearrange. The Q clock was introduced, and it took us quite some time to figure out how to read it. And then there was the Q map, containing an incredible amount of vital information. The map was made by Dylan Lewis Munro. It contains an overview of the true history of mankind and its covert power structures. Q is not a cult, as suggested by opponents. After all, it tells us not what to think or what to do. It merely gives us questions, clues and riddles. We need to do the research in order to find the answers. And that is how we discover the truth.
I like that.
Through this research, I've come to find out more about American and global politics than I'd ever dreamed of. I was never really interested in politics, but the Q drops opened my eyes to a whole new world. A world of secret societies, secret services within secret services, and secret deals made on a grand scale. A world with shadow governments, with an excessively rich 1% of the world population that actually runs the world.
Right.
Not our political leaders, not our presidents, but a very small group that we refer to as the Illuminati or Cabal. I learned about an evil master plan to completely dominate the world. And the ordinary people like you and I, we know nothing. We get up in the morning, we go to work,
Matrix.
we pay our bills and our taxes, we watch TV and go to bed, not knowing that there's a battle being fought over our heads for world dominance. A battle between good and evil.
Right.
This is what Q is pointing out to us. But we the Anons have to do the research. And we do. Like nerds, like an army of digital autists, we connect the dots. There is a war going on for world dominance, for the absolute submission of the masses. How is this achieved? By the constant waging of war. By the introduction of the Federal Reserve Bank and central banks. By trafficking drugs, oil, and people.
Right.
The only two American presidents who tried to break down the power of the elite, beginning with the banks by printing their own interest-free, debt-free money, thus bypassing the Federal Reserve System, were Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy. What else did they have in common? They got murdered.
Wow.
Now, why are the banks so important? What exactly is the Federal Reserve and its central banks?
This is so good.
The Federal Reserve is the central bank system of the US. And in spite of the very misleading word federal, the Federal Reserve and all central banks around the world are privately owned. They are not government institutions.
Right.
They are owned by some of the most wealthy and influential families in the world, two of which are close to the top of the power pyramid, the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. The Federal Reserve was set up in 1913 after quite a bit of opposition from the US government and some very wealthy people, such as Benjamin Guggenheim, from a very influential mining family, Isidor Straus, head of Macy's department stores and politician, and John Jacob Astor, businessman, inventor, and probably one of the wealthiest men at that time. The wealth of these three men in those days was approximately $500 million, which today would amount to something like 11 billion.
Wow.
These men were so rich they could not be bought, not by any bank. What else did they have in common? Apart from money, power, and opposing the creation of the US Federal Reserve? They all died on April 15, 1912, when the ship they traveled on hit an iceberg and disappeared in a cold ocean. Coincidence? Let's just say the Titanic disaster was highly convenient.
Wow.
The rest of the opposition was easily cornered. The US Congress was bypassed. The Fed was created illegally, unconstitutionally,
Right.
something not many people are aware of. Let's have a look at the visible top of the power pyramid.
The Fed.
There we have the Rothschild family. In short, this family owns most of the world. They own each and every central bank. They own the Federal Reserve. They control the International Monetary Fund. They control the World Health Organization.
Oh.
They financed both parties of every war since the
Both
war against Napoleon.
parties.
They financed the Bolshevik Revolution.
Right.
They financed Hitler and the Nazis. They financed the production of IBM sponging machines for an efficient prosecution of the Jews by the Nazis. And they had equities in Exxon and IG Farben, the dealers of Zyklon B gas for the Nazi gas chambers. The estimated net worth of the Rothschild family is $500 billion. When you have that much money and power, you can poke the chest of the Crown Prince of Great Britain like he's your bitch. And when you oppose their power and try to stop them from taking over your banking system by setting up a central bank in your country that loans money to you at insane interest rates that you can never pay back, so that your country becomes the eternal slave to the Rothschild banking system,
Right.
as happened to every country around the world, you are either ousted or killed. Your country will be invaded and blown to smithereens in the name of democracy, supported by the mainstream media that portrays you as a dictator. The same applies
Right.
to those who refuse to accept the almighty US petrodollar. Oh, and there's much more, but we'll leave that for another time. The Rothschilds are not the only ones dominating the world. They are just part of the 1%, the elite. Another family of great influence are the Rockefellers. They made their initial fortune through oil. That fortune led to massive industrial influence in American politics, the banking system, and the pharmaceutical industry.
Right.
They founded schools and universities, leaving a huge imprint on what should and should not be taught to our children and students.
Oh, so
The
dangerous.
Rockefellers further expanded their tentacles of power into the medical world and into hospitals. They now own the Rockefeller University with its Academy of Medicine and the Academy of Sciences, the International Health Foundation, the American Cancer Society, the Drug Trust, the American Medical Association, and the FDA. Everything was in the hands of the Rockefellers. They further infiltrated the educational and medical system by means of the Rockefeller Foundation, giving grants to specific research programs such as the research and development of vaccines, for instance against Ebola, yellow fever, Zika, the flu, and Gardasil, which was further developed and promoted by billionaire and partner in crime Bill Gates.
Partner in crime.
Every case of dangerous side effects such as miscarriage, autism, sterility, seizures, paralysis, and death was brought before the FDA and cleared. And all of the above was promoted by doctors and the media, where the Rockefellers had placed their representatives at the highest levels. Even presidents assured us it was safe. All use of alternative healing was demonized and prohibited, while the treatment with drugs and the drug dependency were pushed down the political agenda.
Wow.
The Rockefellers were also responsible for adding the toxic chemical waste product fluoride to our water and toothpaste.
There you have it. A point in fact, fluoride causes more human cancer and causes it faster than any other chemical. Also known, proven to lower IQ, neurological function. Unbelievable.
And as usual, the media spread lies about its healing qualities. Right. No doctor or dentist ever tested its efficacy. They simply told their patients what they'd been taught at the Rockefeller institutions.
Oh my gosh.
Yet another field of interest was the genetic manipulation of crops. The Rockefellers...
I don't understand how we just full stop. Maybe I should full screen me, but I'm so upset. How we don't abolish these lying, manipulative, gaslighting, propagandists, organizations that are not free press. They're not news. Traditional media has been entirely weaponized against we the people. Why are we allowing weapons in this country to mislead millions to their detriment? Now, I'm not talking to infringe upon our free speech, but to legitimately de-weaponize these institutions and the impacts they have because they're manipulating truth. Anyway.
Own millions of shares of Monsanto stock, as does their partner Bill Gates. Their mutual interest in eugenics, which aims at improving the genetic quality of the human population, will come as no surprise. Back in Nazi Germany, the Rockefellers financed the horrific eugenics experiments performed on Jewish people, trying to create a superior master race. So, in short, two very powerful families that rule the world and its population are the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds. And guess what? They are not even the most powerful.
Right.
There are other families that exceed the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, both in money and in power. But I will not go any deeper into that at this stage. We'll save that for later, shall we? There's one more man I want to put in the limelight right now. George Soros. Described by the mainstream media as investor and philanthropist. His net worth? $25 billion.
Evil.
Soros was born in Hungary. After World War II, he moved to England and then on to the US, where he made a fortune with his hedge funds and his merciless ways to manipulate the financial market, using crises to further increase his own wealth and expand his power. He prides himself in taking no responsibility for his actions and the destruction he caused to literally millions of people. I quote, "I'm here to make money. I cannot and do not look at the social consequences of what I do." Soros strikes me for his choice of funding. For example, NAMBLA, the North American Man-Boy Love Association. Their goal and their slogan, sex before 8 before it's too late.
Evil.
This is their mascot. Why does this great benefactor support a pedophile club such as NAMBLA?
So it's been a while. since I've been through these. So we'll just do the disclaimer now, because so many of these elitists are behind the most evil and nefarious things. Surprise, surprise. So a bit of disclaimer. Definitely don't want you caught off guard with children around with some of the imagery that is used and the actual connections being made. But it's crucial that we make them. Ignorance isn't bliss. And when we really effectively connect what is going on in this world around us, that really should light the fire within ourselves to do what we were meant to do in this time. And I'm telling you, we weren't born in this era essentially to be slaves to these other mortal devilish beings, ones that have sold their souls. God won the war in heaven. Jesus already won and conquered death and paved a way for us all. But these evil actors are poisoning the minds and our bodies in so many different ways. We are to unplug from the matrix and bear the armor of God, the swords and shields, and not fear man, and do whatever we can against this evil to protect our loved ones. Full stop. So let's continue to expose. I hope you're enjoying this. Like, this should be exciting. I mean, I know it's disheartening. I know it's hard to wake up when we've been so sheltered and we've been wrapped up. I really like my gym. I really like my nights out. I really like this and that. But if you continue to afford yourself those and not show up on the battlefields and the wars being waged, then those coveted things you love are going to be limited more and more, and future generations more and more. We're to address these issues, and whether we even right the ship or not is irrelevant. That is what's meaningful and purposeful. Sure, these things are fun. I'm sitting over here. Actually, I apologize. I'm doing all these hand motions and as though I'm engaging with you all, and I'm not even on the screen. What a great host. I apologize. I freaking love you guys. I love the opportunity we have in this life. And I just would love to see more of us take the bigger picture more seriously than our personal, more so selfish lives. The more it does boil down to choice. What you choose in this existence, and God has given you that choice. But I just know by doing the research and by seeing what I've seen, I know there's more of us that are called to fight against this evil right here, right now. We weren't put in this time to just walk in ignorance, sheer ignorance, while our loved ones are being not just experimented on, but straight up poisoned. This is 5th generation warfare. But anyway, Janet, I love you, hon. Rest in peace. She's doing such an amazing job. Let's just continue on with her series.
Then there's Antifa, the anti-fascist movement. When we look at their actions, we see nothing but violence. They show great resemblance with fascism, which is rather strange for an anti-fascist movement.
Right.
Even one of their flags is weird in that sense.
They don't care.
Why would
about
anyone
hypocrisy.
finance such a thing? The same goes for Black Lives Matter.
Right.
Why sponsor a movement that pretends to be left-wing but shows nothing but riots and violence in practice? Do you want to know what we're dealing with here? Then follow me to part 3.
Let's do it. Let's dive into part 3. Guys, thank you so much. You're all warriors. Oh, what'd I hit? It looks like this might actually dive into more of the darker topics, but she really does bring the light and the opportunities. So let's absorb. Let's not be ignorant as to what is taking place in this world, so we can be excited to do our part together. And if anything speaks to you and you have any solutions or things to say, reach out in the comment section, like this episode, share the episode, or email unmuzzledchat@gmail.com. Would love to have you guest on or just strategize with you as to what could be done more effectively with our time here. I know for me, I'm limited being and I'm mortal, and I'm kind of burning out my tires, and I keep replacing tires, and it is quite exhausting, but I can't imagine doing anything else. And we're just going to continue on trucking. I'm just putting words together at this point. Don't mind me. Alien invasion, huh? Oh, the sound.
To the southern.
I apologize once again. I don't know why that sound's cutting out.
The migrant caravan that headed to the southern border of the US in April 2018 was covered by the media big time. According to the official reports, these people came mostly from Honduras, where the caravan had started, and then people from Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua and Mexico joined the march. The main reasons for them to flee their home country were gang violence and poverty. When I saw the first pictures, I was shocked. But then I realized there were just too many images of women and children, which is always a sign of media manipulation and a hidden political agenda. Always. Critical thinkers like the QAnon studied the pictures closely. Too many things did not add up. Like I said in part 1, these people had to walk for 45 miles a day, each and every day for 1.5 months. But these people don't look exhausted.
Nope.
They're not dirty or sweaty. I mean, look at them. Their clothes are clean. Clean babies. Clean pants. They wear labels. They are well fed. These people aren't refugees. They're not poor. I traveled through Mexico, Guatemala and Honduras, and I saw poverty. Believe me, these people are not poor. 45 miles a day on flip-flops? Are you kidding me? Or even barefoot? Come on, where are the blisters? And why aren't they carrying what is needed for a journey like that? Blankets, food, water. Where are the spare diapers? Some people do have small backpacks, but they appear to be brand new. So, what did happen? First of all, buses and vans were deployed to transport all of these people from Honduras to the US border. Flip-flops? No problem. You only have to get out of the van occasionally for a group photo.
Wow.
Next, in order to get as many people as possible, you pay them. Thanks to some alert anons, this was filmed on site.
Trafficking. Wow.
Then, in order to be efficient for the media, you give the main players a colored wristband. Brilliant! Different colors have different meanings, all known to the reporters and the cameramen. Some people overact. Others are really convincing and make it to the World News Report.
Right.
Meet Maria Meza and her 5 children, all the way from Honduras. She made it to every news item on TV, telling about her terror, the fear for her children, their eyes all wet and swollen due to the tear gas that the American Border Patrol so viciously threw at them. Well, Maria, there are a few flaws in your story. I've looked at every single picture of you and your beautiful girls. None of them show any signs of tear gas. This picture clearly shows that you are the only ones in action. The cameraman shoots away, completely uninjured by the gas, and there is no panic. Let's have a closer look at this picture. Cameramen are standing in a line of smoke, yet have no problem with that. Oh wait, look! Somebody is throwing a gas canister. Is that a fellow refugee? Maria told the press that her son went back the next day to get the canister and show it to the reporters. Shame on you, America. I do hope Maria was paid handsomely, I really do, but her story sucks. The family was photographed on another day, getting out of a van for yet another day's work in front of the camera. And the tear gas canister? You can buy them at any theatre prop retailer, or you can use the police trading variety. They produce white smoke, but no harm is done. I guess Trump's statement was correct. No tear gas was used on the children. The entire mainstream media coverage of this event was biased and flawed. My advice to the producers, next time, pay more attention to the details, for the anons are onto you. Refugees who walk for thousands of miles do not walk like this. Or like this. They don't wear flip-flops. They don't have brand new pink buggies. They do not polish their nails. They don't wear iron shirts. Neither do they have perfect haircuts and makeup. When they say they flee their country because they're so poor they can't even buy food, don't show them with digital cameras and iPhones. Refugees who walk for thousands of miles are not clean. And for God's sake, pay attention to some of your supporting actors. And when you Photoshop someone into a picture, make sure you don't forget his leg. Oh, and make up your mind, will you? Do you want the shirt on or off? And what's with the Disney obsession? When you really want to know what's going on in the world, you have to do the research, just like Q keeps saying.
True.
And when you do, you will see what's real and what's not. The migrant caravan was a staged event with a political motive. Who was behind it? Who financed such a great event? George Soros. That's right, our great benefactor George Soros, connected to the pedophile club NAMBLA and the rioting and violent Antifa and Black Lives Matter. How do we know he's behind all of these so-called social movements? Well, it's not really a secret. According to an analysis of his tax filings, he invested $33 million in the notorious Ferguson riots alone.
Wow.
Soros promised everyone who participated in the massive protests $15 an hour. In the case of the migrant caravan, all they had to do was play the part of poor refugees looking for a safe haven. Money, new clothes, food, toys, and an extra bonus if you play your part well. Who'd refuse a job like that? Soros made a mistake by not fulfilling his financial promises. So then we had more riots, this time by angry actors who demanded payment. Videos of Antifa members shouting, "Soros, Soros, where's our money?" went viral, yet everything was hushed up by the mainstream media. So, what's his motive? Why would anyone invest so much money in these massive and well-organized movements?
That's a good question.
To destabilize a country.
Yep.
To create division. Division by skin color, by political wing, by religion,
Yep.
by gender. A divided people is easy to rule. A united people is not. Let's go back to the Q phenomenon. As we have seen in part 2, Q strongly emphasizes the importance to unite. United we stand, divided we fall. Q portrays a better world without wars, treason and corruption. And whether you like it or not, the task to get there has been put in the hands of Donald J. Trump. Now, normally when I say this to people, I get the most vicious looks. Thanks to the mainstream media, the majority of the Dutch people believe Trump to be a narcissistic dictator.
Which is so crazy. Have y'all watched the episode in the interview he had with Joe Rogan? Incredible. Could you imagine Kamala actually sitting and having a conversation with Joe? Trump did fantastic. And mainstream, Oprah, everyone loved him. Loved him. Oh man, he brought all the views and they just loved him as an individual. Very, I don't know how you put it, but funny guy. But as soon as he actually started standing on behalf of the voice of the people against the system, it all got weaponized like the flip of a switch against him. Isn't that unbelievable? I mean, if you listen to the interview with Joe, it goes over a lot of that, but we saw it with our own eyes. To see the people unite and tear down this corruption. We outnumber them millions to one. Millions.
But hey, let's talk some facts here, shall we? Trump went to North Korea. He'll start a nuclear war, the media shouted.
Right.
But he came back with peace. 6 million new jobs have been created under Trump. Lowest unemployment rate since 50 years. More than 4 million people off of food stamps. Trump openly attacked Big Pharma. He created the biggest tax cuts ever for all social classes. He is the only American president ever to work for free. He signed an executive order to clean the oceans. Did you hear about that on the news? No. For some reason, the mainstream media have a political agenda of their own.
Yes, they do.
But more about that later. From my point of view, one of the most important priorities of Trump is to protect the children.
Love that.
Right after his inauguration, he stated that his administration would focus on ending the horrific practice of human trafficking, also referred to as modern slavery.
Yes.
On December 21, 2017, he signed an executive order blocking the property of people involved in serious human rights abuse and corruption.
Which, as proven in The Sound of Freedom, exceeds the drug trafficking and also the gun trade combined. It's so evil. What are we doing?
More executive orders followed to protect victims of human trafficking. A huge campaign was deployed to educate parents and children about the dangers of human trafficking. Throughout 2018 and 19, many arrests took place. Thousands of child molesters were arrested.
Good.
Thousands of victims were rescued. Trump keeps emphasizing that most victims are smuggled into the country through the southern border.
Look what's happening now in the States. We're not even prosecuting pedophiles. We're not even, like in California, they're being directed not even to arrest them because they're just going to be let go. We are entirely losing control in the worst of ways in this country.
He shows numbers, statistics. He made January Human Trafficking Awareness Month.
Good.
He informed the people about MS-13, a criminal gang responsible for raping and killing many American citizens. He swore he would take them down to the last member. He keeps emphasizing the drugs problem and the billions of dollars plus the countless lives it costs each year. He keeps pleading for a wall, anything to reduce the drugs and human trafficking numbers as much as possible.
Good.
But the mainstream media keep twisting his words,
Right.
making it sound like immigrants aren't welcome. I've watched these interviews time and again, and I can assure you that according to President Trump, immigrants are most welcome, but they have to come in legally.
100%.
The funny thing is, Bill Clinton wanted a wall. Obama wanted a wall. Hillary wanted a wall. They all voted for a wall when they were still in the Senate. I'm talking about the 2006 Secure Fence Act, passed by a Republican Congress and signed by President George W. Bush. It wasn't a problem back then, but now all of a sudden, Trump is an immigrant hater? The more I study the subject, the more I understand why Trump is bashing fake news.
Yes, because what media actually represents, it's more than fake. It's an actual leg of fifth generation war tactics.
But more about that soon. Back to Trump's war against human traffickers. For years, whistleblowers at the highest levels have been stepping forward with testimonies about child trafficking for the elite.
Unbelievable. Satanic rituals.
This is nothing new. It was just never dealt with. Until now. The thing is, when I talk about this in my presentations, people don't want to hear about it. They don't want to look at these pictures. Which I understand. I would rather look away as well. But that reminds me of the famous one-liner of the Germans right after World War II. After being confronted with a painful question, how could you let the Nazi atrocities happen? Why didn't you do something? The answer was always, wir haben's nicht gewusst. We didn't know. Of course they knew. It was just too painful and too dangerous to acknowledge it and to do something about it.
Yeah.
Well, I will not look away any longer. These kids are not held by our denial. They are held by our action. So for God's sake, keep watching. We are the only hope they have left.
Yes, please.
Child trafficking for the elite. That is bigger than pedophilia. We are talking about a huge criminal organization kidnapping children and selling them to high-ranking officials from mayors, judges, and senators to presidents and even royalty. Do you think this is far-fetched? Do you think it's just a conspiracy theory? Get ready for some conspiracy facts in part 4.
She does such a good job. I'm so grateful for her work. And she paid the ultimate sacrifice. But that's what it is when you connect the dots. It's beyond this existence. It's what we're to do with the life that we're given. This is not our forever home. Why are we acting though it is? We're to save as many as we can and bring them on board to our loving Creator so we can fulfill His will for us. All right, let's make sure the sound's on and let's go into part 4. I just messed up. Is that what we were in? We just did part 4.
Promote these fairy tales about Donald Trump and what.
Excuse me? Why is this not? Yes. Okay, there it is. Part 3. So what happened to part 4? What the? I blame my hand, folks. My hand is not doing a good job. Here, let's pull up part 4 again. I got it here. My goodness. Sounds on. We're good to go. Apologize about the hiccup.
In 2010, right after the devastating earthquake, 33 children were smuggled out of Haiti. The woman who was arrested, Laura Gaylor Silsby, said they were orphans who were about to be adopted in the US. Upon investigation, however, it turned out most of these children were not orphans. They were later reunited with their parents. Furthermore, there were no adoption papers to be found. These kids had simply been abducted, stolen from their parents. Who exactly is this Laura Gaylor Silsby? First of all, she was on the board of directors of Alert Sense, the company that provides the technology for Amber Alert. Amber Alert is the broadcast emergency response to recover abducted children. Isn't that an interesting paradox?
Yeah.
A convicted child trafficker? Yes, she was found guilty and convicted. Connected to Amber Alert, set up to rescue children?
Convicted and found guilty. All the evidence she just went through regarding these children and the families. And being connected. The connections are not coincidental in who she works for, shall we say.
Secondly, this lady is the founder of the Baptist organization New Life Children's Refuge, an orphan rescue mission for Haiti. Sounds to me like she had a ways to smuggle children out of the country real easy. Nice cover. Last but not least, she's a close friend of the Clintons, who immediately paid for a lawyer, Jorge Puello, who himself is a convicted pedophile. Wow. He was arrested and convicted for leading an international human trafficking ring involving women and children.
How is he not behind bars or dealt with properly? The Bible makes it extremely clear as to that sin. Better a millstone tied around your neck and drop in the depths of the sea. Why are we allowing these individuals? That just goes to show how corrupted the actual legal systems, the money, the power structures that integrate child sex trafficking, these rituals, and it gets much darker. Janet really goes into it. But how far she's going to go into it on this episode, I don't know. But just a disclaimer, I know she gets into it, and it's important that we connect these dots so we know what we're up against and we put a freaking stop to it.
All of this came out into the open thanks to WikiLeaks that published the secret emails between the Clintons and Laura Gaylor Silsby.
Wow.
Let's continue with Haiti some more before moving on, shall we? Haiti was put in the limelight once again with the Oxfam scandal. Oxfam, known for its shops throughout the world for empowering women and for fighting poverty, was banned from Haiti following the 2010 earthquake. There were orgies with prostitutes, some of which were underage, in other words, with children.
Wow.
Leaked emails further confirm that $3 million were diverted from Haitian relief funds via the Clinton Foundation to pay for Chelsea's extravagant 2010 wedding. When Trump called Haiti a shithole, the whole world went mad. But he was right. What he referred to was what the so-called non-profit organizations had turned the island into after the earthquake. The Red Cross collected $500 million for Haiti, and all it did was build 6 houses.
Absorb that. All of these feel-good organizations. I mean, what isn't corruptible in this existence? Truthfully, we need to allocate funds, energy, sources into good, wholesome. That's what we're trying to achieve here. Simply by sharing these messages or funding independent versus these big corporate. Are you kidding me? Even Under Armour got caught with their Wounded Warriors project. Less than 10% actually going to Wounded Warriors. So it's no surprise, but we have opportunity to change out all this infrastructure, and I hope we seize that. It's your choice, but let's continue.
The Clinton Foundation ruthlessly misappropriated the earthquake donations from international donors and got away with it.
Right.
Klaus Eberwein, a former government official of Haiti, due to testify about the Clinton corruption, was found dead with a bullet in his head only days before the trial on July 12, 2017.
Surprise.
Monica Peterson, the young social anthropologist who went to Haiti to investigate human trafficking on the island and who tweeted some critical thoughts about the Clinton Foundation, was found dead by hanging shortly after in November 2016. Her death was ruled suicide. And when surgeon Dr. Dean Lorek openly vented his disgust about the corruption by the Clinton Foundation that he himself witnessed while trying to save lives on the island, he too ended up dead.
Why are we accepting these egregious outcomes connected to these evil individuals? I don't fear their status, their money, their position, and collectively they fare no chance against the masses. But if we want to continue to be absorbed in our little bubbles as though none of this matters or is going to impact us, well, my heart goes out to those individuals too, because you, as we speak, are being, because it's continued past all of these tactics. There's all these other tactics in the poisoning and the weaponization of our medical institution. I mean, everything that we've uncovered on this platform thus far. But my heart goes out to these individuals, these warriors that stood up. They may not be with us in this existence anymore, but dare I say they fulfilled their purpose in a way most of us could only dream of. And I believe that will become clear to us when it is our time.
December 2017, he was found on the bathroom floor of his apartment in New York with a knife in his chest. His death too was ruled suicide.
Unbelievable.
But hey, let's not dwell on the many suicides surrounding the Clintons. Let's go back to one of Q's often repeated sentences. Symbolism will be their downfall. In 2007, the FBI released a bulletin with symbols used by pedophiles to identify their sexual preferences and to communicate where to find both each other and their prey. The blue triangles identify boy lovers, the pink hearts are for girl lovers, and the butterfly is for child lovers in general. These pedophile logos will indeed be their downfall. They are in plain sight, for they never thought people would wake up and see. And just like we saw with Amber Alert, it's the organizations that claim to protect children that actually use pedophile logos. For instance, the International Adoption Clinic. New Star Kafala, a Muslim adoption and child...
We cannot be afraid to see things clearly. And if you don't believe in it, well, then let's do our proper research on it. Ignorance is not bliss. I love the quote from Socrates. There is one good, knowledge, and one evil, ignorance. So let's fulfill the good. There's just something that vibrates with that saying to the core. So truthful.
Advocacy agency. This is the logo for their HOPE program, helping orphans progress emotionally. Then there's the Pacific Crest Trade Association. It changed its logo in July 2017 after the pedophile connection in the capital A was discovered by the public. Now, I'm not saying these organizations are proven pedophile dens. I'm merely pointing out the interesting choice of logo, which of course could be totally based on coincidence. This logo eerily resembles the boy lover symbol. It was used by the Pierre Elliott Trudeau Foundation, set up by the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau in honor of his father. This logo was on the 2015-16 annual report. That's not a coincidence,
folks.
Then there's Alpida, a Canadian refuge charity. Alpida was founded by the Radcliffe Foundation, set up and owned by Frank Giustra. Now, apart from the interesting choice of logo, there are a few things about Mr. Giustra that fascinate me. First of all, he's a major sponsor to the Clinton Foundation. We're talking $100 million and more.
Wow.
He loved going to Haiti with the Clintons. And he founded the Boys Club Network for boys between 12 and 18 seeking connection and mentorship. His co-founder is Jim Crescenzo, a teacher from Vancouver who received an Excellence Award from none other than Justin Trudeau. Now, once again, I'm sure this is just coincidence.
Says a lot.
But what is it that Q keeps saying about coincidence? How many coincidences before mathematically impossible?
Right.
For someone who claims to be a decent family man, Justin Trudeau sure has some interesting friends. Take Christopher Ingvelson, a Canadian private school teacher, convicted for the possession and distribution of child porn. For many years he was Trudeau's friend and roommate. Then there's his best friend Peter Dalgleish, the world-renowned humanitarian who was caught in the act in Nepal with 2 children aged 12 and 14.
Oh my God.
He was the founder of Street Kids International and the Trails Youth Initiative program.
Unbelievable.
Now, I'm sure these programs do great things for kids, but why choose pedophile logos? And why are so many set up by registered and convicted pedophiles and sex offenders?
Right.
I mean, if you're a pedophile, wouldn't it be great to have your own child protection program? To have access to all those lovely children to pick from? Mind you, these children often come from troubled backgrounds. Some have criminal records. Many suffered from neglect and abuse in early childhood. Easy prey, and no concerned, loving parents to protect them. I mean, look at CPS, the Child Protective Services, exposed in 2007 for legally kidnapping and selling children for adoption out of foster care. The lady who exposed them, Congresswoman Nancy Schaefer, was murdered in 2010.
Yeah, bless her heart.
Now back to Trudeau's interesting best friends. Here we have Ben Levin, former Deputy Minister of the Ministry of Education, arrested and...
Like all these murders of these individuals exposing these pedophile rings, and we just go on with our lives as though football matters, as though these the bread and circus and our luxuries are what matters in this existence, when none of us are gonna, like, we all have a limited time. What really matters what we do here? Like, that's a question. What really matters? I'm getting more like I'm getting more fired up to protect the children. It's interesting on this journey. Then, I mean, my heart goes out. I know that as adults, we must maintain our free speech, which is under a grave threat right now. We must maintain our health, which is also under a great threat right now. And we lose either one of those in this existence, man, we're pretty well screwed. But I'm trying to sound the alarm on all that and gain momentum from adults, right? Because I can't put this burden on the backs of children, nor should I try. It's like the lack of reaction and education and seeking knowledge and seeking momentum from adults more so has me gearing towards, well, why not do what I can to protect the littles that can't protect themselves? Let the adults fend for themselves. So my heart goes out if, UNMUZZLED chat is to spin off and more so go an underground railroad route, because we'll be leaving protections and a sense of others behind. But you're adults after all. The choices are yours. So we'll see. We'll see where we lead. But nonetheless, I appreciate this day. I appreciate this opportunity. And I hope that in covering some of this, we can build momentum together in creating solutions for the children and all of us in this country.
And convicted in 2013 for making and distributing child pornography. Then there's Jan Gomeshi, the Canadian CBC radio host, arrested and charged in 2015 with 7 counts of sexual assault and 1 count of overcoming resistance by choking. Now, I don't know about this, but if I were Trudeau, I'd be more careful selecting my friends. He is surrounded by registered pedophiles and sex offenders. There's another prominent place where the FBI symbols of pedophilia can be found, in Hollywood. We briefly saw in part 1 that children cartoons contain references to sex and violence.
It's disgusting.
Doesn't that make you wonder who Walt Disney really was? Why are children exposed to Illuminati symbols, such as pyramids and the all-seeing eye, time and again? And why are pedophile logos used for candy and ice cream? Yet another thing that attracts children. The more I dived into this topic, the more I realized to what extent this has actually drenched our society.
Right.
Top directors such as James Gunn, who openly and proudly tweet about being a pedophile. I guess this is normal in Hollywood?
Unbelievable. Disgusting.
He was fired over these tweets, rightly so one would think, but only a few weeks later he was back at work. Out through the front door, back in through the back door.
Later.
Nickelodeon's producer Dan Snyder lost his job because he couldn't keep his hands off of young girls. And here we have Brian Peck, a convicted child molester who only spent 16 months in jail, after which he was offered a job right back with Disney, where he continued working with underage girls. Once again, out through the front door, back in through the back door. Jason James Murphy kidnapped and sexually assaulted an 8-year-old boy in 1996. He served 5 years in jail, moved to California, used his shorter name, Jason James, and became a casting agent for child actors. The list of sexual predators in Hollywood is endless. Only recently were some of them called out by their victims and arrested. Most victims never dare to speak up, for their predators are absolute legends in Hollywood. Actor Corey Feldman was one of the first to speak up about child abuse in Hollywood. He and his best friend Corey Haim became actors at a very young age. They were incredibly successful and famous, but the price was high. They were sexually abused by various adults they worked with. It was common knowledge that the two Corys were passed around at Hollywood parties. They resulted in great trauma that was buried for many years. The two Corys sought relief in alcohol and drugs, which eventually led to Corey Haim's death at the age of 38. It wasn't until recently that Corey Feldman called out his abusers. Elijah Wood, who became world famous for his part as Frodo in The Lord of the Rings, supported Corey Feldman's statements about Hollywood as a pedophile den. Elijah was protected by his mother, who wouldn't let him visit any of the parties where a lot of the abuse took place. World-renowned actors such as Robert Downey Jr. and Brad Pitt also stepped forward to support all of these statements. If you think that sounds crazy, wait till you hear Mel Gibson. The world-famous megastar, both as actor and producer, was blacklisted by Hollywood for stating that Hollywood is a den of parasites who feast on the blood of kids. He took it a whole lot further. Read for yourself.
He stated, quote, "Hollywood is an institutionalized pedophile ring. It is a den of parasites who feast on the blood of children. Every studio in Hollywood is bought and paid for the blood of innocent children." Unbelievable. I do get that this is dark. I do get it's hard. And I see a lot of people dropping out due to this. But when you really dive in as to the level of corruption, there's more to be exposed here on the whole infrastructure. And that's where it just behooves me is to how we're idly sitting by to not just a tyrannical two-tiered infrastructure system that's now weaponized against we the people being an occupied, conquered country, but allowing an occupation of such evil. Such evil. We can't even comprehend till you actually connect the dots like Janet here has done. Just think for a second. She so effectively drew near, and this is just the beginning, is to exposing the whole infrastructure of the Cabal, this Illuminati, this world power we're up against, that she became a big enough threat. They took her life. Are we going to allow her life to just not lead to any solutions? Are we going to do what we can to further the research and the momentum she was gaining to see a better tomorrow, not just for us, but for our children? Hard to even imagine, but these are quotes from Mel Gibson. Babies are the highest currency. Unbelievable. The money involved, you have no idea.
Could this be true? Eating babies? Drinking their blood? Will this have a happy ending? Oh, yes. Let's move on to part 5.
Well, folks, someone drop a comment. Would you like us to dive into part 5? Nature calls, but if we get through 5, let's take a look. We're sitting at an hour and 29 minutes. We could just cut this off. We could segment this out however we choose. So if you want me to continue, we got part 5 queued up, and I could just step out just for a second. Why don't we do that? Let's continue on to part 5, and we'll see about getting through this 10-part series in 2 episodes, and then we can also look into diving into the sequel. Why not?
In part 1, we briefly looked at the sexualization of children and the normalization of pedophilia in our society.
Guys, it does get hard to grasp, but when we see it, oh my goodness. It's like Isaac Cappy even stated, a whistleblower in Hollywood, an actor. He spoke a lot on not gravitating too much towards the darkness, gravitating toward the light. And our hearts can go out, and I just hope that this leads us to the light and leads us to solutions in this existence, because, golly, we must come together to combat these threats. Fact is, this is even dated, and it's only gotten worse since then. So sad. We've been so
innocence is sexier than you think. And what about this clothing store called Sweet and Sexy Kids?
Unbelievable.
What the hell is sexy about kids?
Right.
At an academic presentation at Cambridge University in June 2018, it was actually stated that the majority of men are probably pedophiles and that pedophilic interest is normal and healthy.
No, it's not.
The New York Times declared pedophilia not a crime but a disorder. And during 2 TEDx talks, pedophilia was presented not as a disorder but as a sexual orientation. Posters were spread. And Cosmopolitan magazine published an article by the hand of a young woman who became her father's lover.
This is more than psychological warfare and information warfare and grooming and manipulation tactics. It's literally, if you look into MK Ultra, that's what it is, and it's demonic, and it's just spitting on God's word and the Bible itself. It's so sickening that we've idly let it, sat by and let it get to this point.
Now, of course, in order to make all of this legal, the age of consent had to go down, so that having sex with a child would no longer be a crime.
Wow.
No problem. Judges and politicians at the highest level did their utmost best to take care of that.
Oh my gosh. If that doesn't show corruption, I don't know what does.
Not many people know that Patricia Hewitt was General Secretary of the NCCL, later known as Liberty, which was affiliated to PI, the Pedophile Information Exchange. Then there's former British Prime Minister Theresa May.
I don't know about you,
pedophiles should be allowed to adopt children too.
but this fires me up. Let's
When you study
go.
the patterns of this topic, it seems there is a larger plan behind it all. Why is it so important to legalize pedophilia? Why is having sex with children so important? Any psychologist can tell you how harmful it is for children to have sex at a young age, and that consent is a very dangerous concept, as pedophiles often tell their children they are simply demonstrating just how much they love them. Sex is then confused with love.
Evil.
The child cannot comprehend the subsequent feelings of pain, shame, anger and fear. The secrecy put upon them is hard to deal with. All of this results in great trauma.
Great trauma. You can now look at the statistics behind the whole LGB and the trans and the men thinking they're women and vice versa, and so much of that correlating to sexual abuse.
Why then would a society push pedophilia down our throats?
Right.
Bit by bit, step by step, normalizing it so that we grow to the idea instead of reject it.
Right.
Why create a society of traumatized people?
Good question.
Why are pedophile logos used in children cartoons, Disney movies, candy and ice cream? child protection centers, adoption agencies, in business and in politics. Meet Sheila Jackson Lee, member of the House of Representatives, proudly wearing her young boy lover ring. What is going on here? Let's follow a lead. Check this out. This still image appears in a video clip of a band called Sex Stains, and this is where it gets interesting.
Wow.
They played at Comet Ping Pong, a restaurant in Washington, D.C.
Pizzagate.
Best known for its pizzas, ping pong tables in the basement, high-profile clients such as Hillary Clinton and the Obamas, and a conspiracy theory called Pizzagate, more about which in a bit. Meet the owner of Comet Ping Pong, James Achilles Alefantis. When Alefantis started his restaurant in 2006, he didn't have much according to himself. Yet in 2012, only 6 years later, he was named as one of the 50 most powerful people in Washington, D.C. That fascinates me. You don't become that powerful by running a pizza place.
Right.
So, who exactly is James Alefantis? He portrays Comet Ping Pong as a family-friendly restaurant, yet his tweets and those posted on his Twitter account are controversial, to say the least.
Oh my gosh.
It's clear that Alefantis loves art. Comet Ping Pong often displays a work.
It's not art. The imagery just that flashed through in the actual scripting in the tweets themselves. How dumb do we have to be to allow evil to lurk around us to this extent without addressing it? It's one thing to allow, oh yeah, free agency, yeah, that's of God. That's great. But evildoers breaking laws, preying on freaking children? Are we that messed up to not do anything?
Of artists with a very specific taste. This is the work of Arrington de Dioniso.
Disgusting.
Not a big Trump fan, huh? Why is this on the walls of a child-friendly pizza place?
On the walls.
Alefantis loves a good party. Now here's a picture he wishes he never posted. Meet his party friend, Miss Summercamp.
Disgusting.
What else? He had a love affair with David Brock, political consultant and founder of Media Matters for America, a progressive research and...
Sorry, folks, I know it's graphic, but she's really uncovering the truth behind these evil doers. It gets so dark. It truly does. This is just the tip of the iceberg. So if it is squeamish for you, like, that's where I like to take and bite chunks, where you dive into sermons. You see the distinction between our loving Creator and the devil himself. But all this ties into the actual infrastructure of this existence and why things are operating as they are. I challenge more men to champion this narrative and kind of liberate or deliver women from having to champion this narrative in these battles, knowing it's going to weigh more, from my experience, on a woman than it would men. We are built differently. We're more so built for war. Now, I'm not to tell anyone if you feel up to it, but it's, my goodness, let's take the blinders off. Let's get engaged. Let's take out these evil actors. They took out Janet and so many that she already covered thus far that was exposing these evil doers. What are we doing? It's only gotten worse, and their power, their control, they're only solidifying it more each and every day.
Information Center, dedicated to comprehensively monitor, analyze, and correct conservative misinformation in the US media.
Wow.
In other words, an organization for censorship.
Right.
Brock's Media Matters received $1 million from none other than George Soros back in 2010. Brooke also found it correct the record with the sole purpose of censoring all negative reports on Hillary Clinton on social media. Censorship once again.
Wow.
So,
$6
James
million.
Alefantis is definitely a lead we must follow. What else do we know about him? He is best friends with the political top of the US. He is closely connected to the Podesta brothers, John and Tony Podesta. John Podesta is quite a hotshot in American politics. He was White House Chief of Staff to President Clinton,
Wow.
Counselor to President Obama, and Chairman of the 2016 Hillary Clinton presidential campaign.
You can't make this stuff up.
Tony Podesta is a
Be right
political
back.
lobbyist and art supporter. He and his ex-wife Heather collect the work of, for instance, the Dutch artist Margie Geerlings. Fascinating, to say the least. They are also great admirers and buyers of the work of Patricia Piccinini. And what about the work of Biljana Djurdjevic that actually adorns the Podesta's living room? This is Louise Bourgeois. Her work is prominently present in Tony Podesta's mansion. This piece is called Art of Hysteria. It greatly resembles the work of Jeffrey Dahmer, a serial killer who liked to dismember his victims and leave them in a somewhat awkward position. And then there's the most interesting work of Kim Noble, a survivor of severe trauma in early childhood, which left her with 13 altered personas. Her artwork shows the horrific things she experienced as a young child, like torture and rape.
Absolutely
Her work was
disgusting.
exhibited in Comet Ping Pong, our child-friendly pizza place. Now, I don't know about you, but this makes me sick as a dog.
Right.
The more I study Pizzagate, the more I realize this was quite likely conspiracy fact, not theory.
Right.
What kind of a pizza place exhibits naked, abused, tortured, raped, and even dead children on its walls?
Right.
What kind of man becomes one of the most powerful people in Washington, D.C., serving pizza?
Right.
How come the political top of the US, the Podestas, the Clintons, and even Obama, president of the US at that time, how come they all want to spend time with a sick perv like Alefantis?
Good question.
I think I know. For a while I thought the name Alefantis was fake. This man was way too powerful to...
I know it's tough to get through the deep, like the darkness of it. But when the connections are made, it's the only way we're going to effectively see a proper way of addressing the synagogue of Satan and these evildoers that have conquered our country. I don't know about you, but I am fired up. Let's go. It's like, how else can I be effective and impactful to pushing back against this evil today due to this information is firing me up that much more. I only hope it's having that impact with you. And we can have that impact in sharing, coming up with solutions together to rule out this evil.
come from an ordinary family. Could Alefantis be a French bastardization of J'aime les enfants? I love children?
Frick this
But
evil.
then, some anonymous pointed out he
Unbelievable.
could well be a Rothschild. After some digging, I came across an interesting twist in a Rothschild family tree, starting with Evelyn Achille the Rothschild. His middle name kinda gives it away, doesn't it? He was born in Buffalo, New York in 1886 and died in World War I in 1917. 2 years before he died, his illegitimate son, Louis George, was born. But as he wasn't married, his son inherited the name of his mother, Alefantis. The boy grew up and married Helen Rapaz and had 2 sons, one of which is Achilles Louis Alefantis, the father of our very own James Achilles Alefantis. His mother's name is Susan Reed Shoemaker. So, his middle Achilles takes him all the way back to his great-grandfather and even further back to his great-great-grandmother, the Italian Marie Perugia. Her father's name was Achille Perugia. In short, James Achilles Elephantis is a real, genuine, full-on Rothschild. That explains his power and his friends. It explains his close proximity to the Clintons, just like his uncle and aunt, Evelyn and Lynn de Rothschild.
Wow.
So, are we to believe that our political leaders simply enjoy pizza and sick art? Is that it?
No.
What is it with pizza anyway? Why is it so sexualized?
Disgusting.
What's with the Best of Pizza pedophile logo? Which, by the way, was quickly changed
Yes,
the moment
that was
Pizzagate
after.
became an item.
Yeah.
Is it all just a coincidence that the Podesta emails revealed to the public by WikiLeaks in 2016 contain
If you actually paused and read these, then you would actually understand, wow, Pizzagate is not just some conspiracy. The verbiage and the way it's used, you'd have to be some sort of idiot just to be like, yep, that's considering the amount of evidence and facts.
countless pizza-related words such as cheese, hot dogs, pasta, walnut sauce.
Pizza for an hour? How does that work?
When you actually know what those words mean,
Right.
which is common knowledge in the sex industry, these emails suddenly become shocking.
Unbelievable. Can't make this stuff up.
Is this why Hillary deleted 33,000 emails for which she is currently scrutinized?
I'm sure it's a part of it.
Does that explain what Obama meant when he ordered $65,000 worth of hot dogs and pizza?
$65,000 Obama spent. Unbelievable. Yeah, it was not pizza and hot dogs.
Flown in from Chicago to the White House in the middle of the night for a private party? Is that why Hillary emailed Obama warning him he needed to be more careful next time?
Dear Barack, when we begin pizza arrangement, I thought we were going to be more careful than this. Operating from the White House is not what I originally had in mind. Remember that hot dogs can come, but if you make a spectacle of it, that will be our downfall. Please know that I am speaking as a friend. You are the president, and I can do as you like, but I have to say what I think. It would be wiser to restrict this activity to our permitted locations. They're permitted locations. Is that why all these elites have these underground bunkers? Let me know what everyone thinks. We can vote on it if you'd like. Thanks, Hillary. Unbelievable. It's verified through WikiLeaks.
Hot dogs can come, but if you make a
No wonder Julian Assange ended up illegally being imprisoned for, what was it, 14 years. And we didn't jump on what he exposed? What's wrong with us?
spectacle out of it, that will be our downfall. And I think it would be wiser to restrict this activity to our predetermined locations. Really? For a few hot dogs?
Wow.
Isn't it weird that these security camera pictures of children lying on ping pong tables in the basement of Comet Ping Pong are shown on the walls upstairs? Who the hell was watching them? And why does their website have a super secured backdoor to a secret division where you can order pizza pictures for absurd prices? This screenshot was made public by a hacker. It's in low resolution, so I will read out loud what it says at the bottom. This month we have 5 fresh pizzas for your enjoyment. We also have 4 surviving pizzas from last month's session. All are on sale
pizzas.
at an extremely low price, as they are in poor health and not expected to survive. So a requirement is that you finish eating your pizza after your session. This month's special includes a 30% discount on severe torture. Each image below is available for $1,000 in fine print.
Boils my blood, folks.
Why are they talking about kill rooms, murder, and rinsing it off when you're done? What the hell is going on here? To tell you the truth, at this point in my research, I experienced what we call cognitive dissonance.
She not going to read that for us? Sometimes people hold a core belief that is very strong. When they are presented with evidence that works against that belief, the new evidence cannot be accepted. It creates a feeling that is extremely uncomfortable called cognitive dissonance. And because it is so important to protect their core belief, they will rationalize, ignore, and even deny anything that does not fit in with that core belief. We're to challenge our core beliefs in this existence. We've been wired incorrectly from the beginning. We've been poisoned from the beginning with the childhood vaccinations. We got to, the truth truly will set us free. And golly, we can't allow cognitive dissonance to keep us from acknowledging the truth to the warfare and the world we're living in right now. We can't afford it any longer. Too many people have been deleted. Too much evil. It's just continuing. Blah, I don't have the words. I apologize. I really genuinely wish I did. I wish we had the microphone and the following necessary to where we could organize collectively to combat this evil. I know we have the ability. It's just not been happening fast enough. Anyway, let's continue. Come on, folks. What do you got? This
What I found out was so contrary to my belief system that I wanted to dismiss my discoveries.
Wow, look at this. The line, comforting lies, unpleasant truths. What a great image. In fact, right here on a live, I'm doing a screen print because I'd like to capture that. Might even make it an episode title a cover image to an episode here in the near future. Save that to desktop. I appreciate your patience. Let's continue.
It just could not be true that the people we trust, the ones we vote for, were so evil.
So evil.
I simply could not handle the facts. How could people so charming and intelligent be part of a child trafficking pedophile ring where children were tortured, raped, and killed for pleasure? Or, as I would later find out, for something even more horrific? Yep. I felt like I'd ended up in a nightmare. All I wanted to do was dismiss it all. Couldn't it just be all coincidence that the Clintons and the Obamas and Trudeau, beautiful, charming Trudeau, had surrounded themselves with the wrong friends? If their friends are all pedophiles, that doesn't mean they are, right? And maybe they don't even know about their friends' sexual preferences? I mean, I know Bill Clinton's healer, the Brazilian John of God, was recently arrested for keeping sex slaves whom he made pregnant time and again.
Wow.
I know he admitted to selling the babies for thousands of dollars and killing the slave mothers after 10 years of giving birth. I know the main whistleblower in this case suddenly died a suspicious death, but come on, how could Bill Clinton have known? And I know he went to the private island of convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. I know he was on the
27
passenger list
times.
26 times,
Six
together
times.
with other sex offenders like Kevin Spacey, who was recently arrested for multiple rape accounts, among others with young boys. But that doesn't make Clinton a sex-raging animal, right? I know he was investigated for the rape of a young boy by Jenny Moore, a former police officer who informed the FBI and the Department for Homeland Security, after which he suddenly died in a hotel room. But that doesn't make Bill Clinton a murderer, does it?
Yes, it does.
I decided to do more research. I needed more supporting evidence. I went back to the artwork. I was intrigued by the bathroom or swimming pool or whatever it was.
Disgusting.
Where was it? When this appeared on 8chan,
Fact of the matter is, with this amount of information that's being brought forth at this point, it merits full, proper investigations. Now, we know we can't rely on FBI. We know we can't rely on the CIA or anything federal at this point. It's completely occupied. So we either somehow influence a branch of the military or civilian, orchestrate some type of civilian, maybe deputization, or getting police and sheriffs with kahunas, but we could live stream it all. They can't just delete us all. Why are we not? There should be no secrecy. But yeah, that photo right there clearly was taken out of this specific spot, and it was, or that painting was done up with this spot. And let's just continue.
I knew I was on the right path. Not just me, but thousands of Anons searched for it and found it. It actually existed. Do you want to know where it is? Come with me to part 6.
Yeah. It is incredible. She does such an amazing job, or did. Once again, rest in peace, Janet. We love you. We appreciate everything you've done for us. I hope we do you justice and magnify all your hard work. Folks, I am convinced that she was murdered due to the information she was getting out on our behalf, exposing these evildoers. And it's not just their acts and the imprisonment. They're in such positions of power. They just can't have that power disrupted. That's why they're fulfilling even more evil acts, such as, let's just say, depopulation and things along those lines, because these elitists need, with the information getting out like it kind of has been through free speech platforms, and more distrust with their propagandist outlets, it's threatening this two-tiered infrastructure. So what do they need to do? They need to sicken the population, make the population more sickly, and minimize the population number to a more manageable number. Can't make this stuff up. Please help us get the message out. Forget about the affiliations. I want to say forget about even any financial contributions to what we're trying to accomplish here. But the fact of the matter is, any financial contributions would help magnify us getting the message out to creating more momentum. So if you feel called on that, or I guess, or the affiliations to help propel this platform into having more positive impact, every little bit helps. Just check the comment section below. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm excited to dive more into it and to finish up this 10-part series, and then we'll kind of reassess, but maybe we'll even go through the sequel, as many episodes as it takes to get through the sequel, because it really does give us a explanation in the bigger picture as to why the world is the way it is. And we're to seek knowledge in this life. And we're to fight against this evil. But that being said, I know it can be challenging. And that's why, I do have up right here, and I greatly look forward to diving more into these other pastors' episodes. This one here from the books of Acts, and this one. And we also have other churches we're looking into and other powerful sermons and breathe light. And I think as we expose and dive into the darkness and the light, we're really going to land where we need to in this existence and where God wants us in this existence. I'm just excited to go on this journey with you. It's so important that we don't turn a blind eye and we just do what we can. I love you. I truly do. Let's go ahead and dive into here. I'm just going to check one thing. Dive into the Jesus is Calling for October 29th. And it reads, linger in my presence a while. Rein in your impulses to plunge into the day's activities. Bringing your day alone with me is essential. Preparation for success. A great athlete takes time to prepare himself mentally for the feat ahead of him before he moves a muscle. Similarly, your time of being still in my presence equips you for the day ahead of you. Wow. We have become far too fidgety to really just sit. I want to sit in his presence right now, but I don't want to leave y'all hanging. It's crucial. Maybe include some sunlight and some grounding and have the Bible next to you would lead to great blessing each and every day. Only I know what will happen to you this day. I have arranged the events you will encounter as you go along your way. If you are not adequately equipped for the journey, you will not grow weary or lose heart. Relax with me while I ready you for action. We got 2 biblical references. I challenge you to check them out. We got Ephesians 2:10 and Hebrews 12:3. I think we're just going to leave it at that. I genuinely am excited to go through the rest of this episode, the docu-series, The Fall of the Cabal. Janet left us with some very powerful connections and information to not just consider, but more work to further. Already what she's exposed in my eyes, already that should be enough for us to be like, you know what? No more secrecy. Whatever means necessary, we're going to gain the answers we need. Full stop. Well, my friends, thank you for joining this episode on Unmuzzled Chat. Look forward, like I said, to those episodes. We'll dive into that tomorrow, roughly around this time, maybe let's say around 1 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, roughly, give or take. I'll try to stick to that 1 o'clock. And then we'll continue to go through the sequel as much as we can. If you have any other important information for us on what we went through on today's episode, please reach out to unmuzzledchat@gmail.com. I can't do this alone. I need more engagement from y'all. Share this as much as you can. Smash that like button. That's only going to help the algorithms to allow this to come across more people's feeds. That's going to bring more growth and momentum to what we're trying to accomplish here. Smash that like button, comment, reach out to the Gmail, unmuzzledchat@gmail.com. Collectively, we can do this together. And I look forward to connecting with you. And if you'd like to guest, just reach out. I hope our loving Creator blesses you this wonderful day. I can't wait. Till next time, I'm out. Take care.